People in the extreme conditions of a hospital intensive care unit often imagine things, bizarre things, as Nancy Andrews knows.
I thought that the nurses were trying to kill me because I had this knowledge that they didn't want to be known.
But for Andrews, a faculty member at College of the Atlantic in Bar Harbor, the experience didn't end with her hospitalization.
When I came home from the hospital, I started experiencing flashbacks and nightmares. And luckily, my primary physician knew that those were signs of post-traumatic stress disorder and had me evaluated to get treatment for that.
Not all doctors, and probably fewer patients, make that connection between what's called ICU delirium and post-traumatic stress. So Andrews will be doing presentations to raise awareness on the subject tonight in Portland and tomorrow in Bar Harbor.
ICU delirium is something that's quite common when people are in the intensive care unit and you're very ill. Obviously, that's why you're there. And you're generally on painkillers and other drugs, and there's lots of noise and disruption, and you're probably sleep deprived. And the result is that you often become delirious and have hallucinations. After you leave the ICU, you may not experience the delirium anymore, but there are certain after effects of being in the ICU that delirium actually makes worse. The longer you're delirious, the more likely you're to have depression, to have post-traumatic stress disorder, to experience cognitive problems. There's some people that, for instance, may not ever be able to balance their checkbook again.
Do we know how common this problem is?
Well, we know that about 5 million people every year in the United States go into an intensive care unit for at least a day. And it's believed that 30 or 40% of those people might experience these after effects of delirium.
You've written about this experience before, and one of the things, of course, that was perhaps a little bit different for you is you had artistic talent that you were also able to bring to this situation. Talk a little bit about that.
For me, making art was a way to understand what was going on in my mind, but it was also, art was a way to take control of the situation in a sense and be able to re-envision how I might see myself through this character that I drew, and this character became more sort of heroic and more victorious perhaps than I am in real life.
It almost makes me wonder, too, if some of this is, on a continuing basis, continues to be therapeutic for you as well, to talk about this, to raise that awareness.
In some ways, it's a mixed bag because every time I talk about it, it stirs everything up for me. But I think that overall, it's a really good process to connect with people and talk about it and realize, because I think a lot of people that have these kind of experiences feel like they're alone or feel like I think sometimes, oh, I only have these problems because I'm weak. It's really good to realize through talking about it with other people that know this is really almost to be expected when you've been through a huge medical trauma, that you might have these after effects. And in the same way that you might expect that somebody who's been through a horrendous experience of war would have these kind of experiences.
In discussions, I assume you've had over the years with medical professionals, have they learned anything that might help to reduce the instances of ICU delirium in the first place and thus minimize the post-traumatic effects on people who have to be in intensive care?
This is a big area of research and growth right now in a number of places, trying to reduce the delirium in the ICU by having a number of practices that would help there. And then the part about when people get home, I think is going to take a lot of work, and the critical care community has this very high on their list of trying to raise awareness about this so that people get the help they need.
Andrews, an artist, created works based on her experience. Some of them have been made into films, On a Phantom Limb and Behind the Eyes Are the Ears. She'll show them tonight at St. Lawrence Arts in Portland and tomorrow night at College of the Atlantic in Bar Harbor, with discussion to follow. Additional information will be at our website, mpbn.net, later today.